Yellow Brick Road. Straight to DVD. B movie. That's what a lot of fuckers online will say. And I did a lot of research on this one after I watched it because it, first the basics, came out 2010. It's not rated, but it should be rated R probably. Very independent film. It's an independent horror film through and through. I got this from Waterpipe. He bought it for me for Christmas. And he just knows that I've been getting a lot more into horror again, I should say, because I grew up on it and I got out of it probably for a good 7 years. And I've been getting into it again, so he just picked a random one. This is one that I was actually looking at on the shelf at Best Buy, and I didn't buy it because I already own too many DVDs that I haven't watched. So I was very excited to get that, and watched it the other day. It has, the writers and directors are Jesse Holland and Andy Mitten, who I hadn't heard of. The main star that you'll notice is Cassidy Freeman. She was Tess on Smallville for the last couple seasons. And one ironic thing about this is that her brother in real life, Clark Freeman, is also her brother in this film. They're a brother-sister. And anytime I think of that chick, she's a cool actress and she's good, I always think of her saying Clark because she's talking to Clark Kent on Smallville. So when I read that her brother's name was Clark, I was like, man, maybe that's why it came through so strongly every time she said that. Clark. Like, I don't know, kind of stupid, but it's funny that for me that I thought of that, and then when I found out her brother's name was Clark, because that's how I remember her, just always saying his name on the show Smallville. That's neither here nor there. The plot of this film is, in 1940, there was a small New England town, and a bunch of, if not all of the residents, they don't make that exactly clear, went walking on this trail behind the town and disappeared in these woods. Like, you know, this trail goes through the woods, miles and miles. And people that investigated it in the 40s found some of them brutally mutilated, many, if not most, missing, just completely vanished. Sometimes you see some clothes, but they don't know where they went, how they disappeared, there's no trace, and they don't know how the ones that were mutilated got mutilated. And so go to present day, and you get this group of professionals. You get a map maker, you get a journalist, two map makers, you get guides, you get psychologists. There's just this group of people that have banded together, and they decide they want to go figure out what happened to these people, the legend of this town. And so in that regard, here, I hate to say the title of this movie, Blair Witch Project, but it's got that same kind of thing where they're going off into the woods to discover this legend and see what it is. This isn't handheld camera, it's like a movie of that kind of plot. However, I don't even want to compare it to that because it's much different, and I don't want people that are turned off by Blair Witch to go, just to shun this because of that, because it's not that at all. It's got a very creepy feel the whole way. I think they really get into the characters. They really talk about each and every character and let them develop. It's cool that they brought along a psychologist because he's thinking about, if this, if you're going to be in the woods for 60 miles or something, it can drive you a little crazy, so I'm going to keep it documented. So that's when you see some of the camera where he's interviewing people, handheld camera view. He's interviewing people. And it's cool to see some of the questions he asks and see how the characters are reacting as the movie goes along. They're not after a monster or anything like that. The movie is all about the journey. What's going on as they get deeper and deeper into this forest, and what happens to them and while they're trying to figure out what happened to the people from the 40s. It's hard for me to give away too many creepy instances without kind of giving away the whole film. So I don't want to talk about too much, but they run into some stuff that really personally creeped me out that I've not seen used in movies many times, where I was like, oh, that has creeped me out in real life. And then they use it to such effect that I just thought it was really, really well done. Now, it did last a little too long. That's one negative I am going to say about it. There were a few times where I thought the movie, should have definitely ended, and it didn't. That's not necessarily a bad thing. With this one, it's not like I was like, oh my god, this is going on forever, like Transformers or something. But it could have ended a little sooner. That's all. I, personally, don't understand it completely. Even in the end, after everything's said and done, and this is one of the main complaints from people that I've read that have watched this film, is stupid ending, oh, they're trying to be too artistic or too, like, trick you or intelligent. I didn't feel that way at all. I feel that it needs to be rewatched. I need to watch it again to see what I get from it. And I think it can mean different things to different people. You might be let down, you might not have some dead, set-in-stone ending, but I don't think the writers are trying to fuck with you. I think they're just trying to say something, and it can kind of mean different things to different people. An interesting note on this film, as I did look it up online and read people talk about it on IMDb and other sites, there are a lot of people that didn't like the movie, and they clearly say, I don't like this, but some of them recommend it still. They say, I didn't like it personally, but I've still got to recommend it. And I love when a film does that, because there have been quite a few films that I hate, but I will tell everybody you should watch it, because it'll mean something to you and you could love it. And even the ones that totally bash it, a lot of the things that they're saying make me want to watch it, but that happens a lot of times with critics for me. So, and I'm sure there's some of you, or a lot of you, that have watched movies that I recommend, and you're like, that Coffee Doug's a dipshit. Why would he use the word dipshit, for one? But why would he recommend that movie? To each their own, obviously, but I try to present films to you that I think the people that are watching Rough Cuts would enjoy. That's what I try to do for you. And and everybody knows that I'm not as critical with films. I really try to find the good in all. I mean, I said good things about the movie The Last Airbender, and I don't think there's much good to be said about that. So there you go. With this, Yellow Brick Road, which is all one word, actually, when you look it up online, it's not separated, I think there's a lot of good to be found in it. I think it's an excellent horror, mystery, thriller. I'm going to say more horror. They've got some gore and guts and blood, and then they've got some tense, just creepy feeling, and, you know, you're just going to have to come up with what you think overall after the movie's said and done. So, I really want people to talk about this one online. Let me know what you think about it and how you feel about it, and, you know, I don't know. That's all there really is to say. I think it was a good one, and I hope to watch more films kind of like this when it comes to horror, because it's unique, in my opinion. Until next week, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I love talking films with you. Coffee Doug.